Hey, nice to have you with us on this Tuesday. And as usual, as it's a Tuesday, we're joined by our legal expert, Advocate Lance Brogden. Yesterday, when we were talking with Chris Gibbons, Chris raised the whole thing about insurance and Sasria specifically. I said at the time that maybe we should get Advocate Brogden to have a look at this whole issue. Of course, being a legal eagle, he was all over it like the proverbial rash. And so that is what we're going to be discussing. Lance, nice to have you with us again.
Thanks, Jim. Always good to be here.
Yeah.
And the rash is not the same rash you're speaking to Vicky about later.
Yeah, no, we're not discussing rashes with Vicky this week. I can promise you that much. With all the rioting and looting that's been taking place in our country, will insurance pay out these claims? Will they be able to? What's the status here?
Right, so the situation is with all these riots, looting, political violence, and the VDPs running around.
What's a VDP? No.
A very disappointing person running around.
Yeah.
Mayhem, chaos. Yeah, so the question is, if you have a valid claim, insurance pays out. Let's start there. But the issue is about who's physically going to pay it out. Okay, we will take it a step further just now. But these claims that relate to violence, etc., are Sasria claims. Sasria will pay it out.
Right, now who or what is Sasria?
Okay, so Sasria is a government-based organization around 40 years old. They arrived on the scene around 1979. It stands for South African Special Risks Insurance Association. So it's a state-owned enterprise, and it is there to pick up claims which insurance companies won't do on their own bat. So political violence, riot, strikes, all that type of disorder that goes along, they are there to protect the consumer and the owners of businesses in that case.
How do you go about claiming under these circumstances then?
I think the ideal thing, Jim, is that let's go across to somebody who is right in the firing line here. So we're going to go across to Andrew Penny. Andrew Penny is the CEO of SmartSure 2020. It's a strong insurance administration platform working with multiple brokers, but also working with most of the well-known insurance companies in the country. And Andrew is the best guy to speak to about this, I think.
Okay, welcome to the Mansfield Today studio, Andrew. You can see Andrew's in insurance because it looks like he's on a golf course. So.
Nicely, Jim.
Thank you for the invite and opportunity. And I'm not sure if I'm the best guy to speak to, but hopefully I can add some light to what you want to ask.
Andrew, let's just hone in on two questions. Firstly, with all this looting going on, all this trauma out there and the massive losses building up, how do your clients or your brokers coming through your platform or clients out there coming to you as a broker or a brokerage, how do they go about putting on these claims? And the second question, handle them the way you are. We won't hold you to this, okay? What are the pitfalls and how long do you think it'll take before a claim is perhaps paid out?
Sure. Okay, that's something to ponder on. Look, I must say Sasria have been very open and forthcoming over the past week in terms of how they've communicated with the insurers, who in turn have communicated with the broker communities. And they've laid the process out quite simply and effectively. And by all accounts, they are ready to handle the claims that are coming in. So your first protocol would be to approach your underlying insurer, because not every policy has Sasria automatically included. It's not a compulsory insurance. So it is elective. So you need to establish whether in fact you do have Sasria insurance on your policy or not. Once that's been established, then you would submit the claim via the normal course to your underlying insurer, who would then in turn register the claim on your behalf with Sasria and take it from there. Sasria would handle it from there. So Certain insurers have been given mandates by Sasria to handle fast-track the smaller claims, appoint assessors, depending on their relationship or their mandate with Sasria. But by and large, you would need to, as soon as practically possible, you'd need to get the claim form in to your insurer to pass it on to Sasria. You'd need to have the police reference. That's sort of the normal run-of-the-mill process that you'd have to follow if you had any insurance claim. You'd need to substantiate or give a quantum of what you're claiming. And then if there's any evidence, because every claim is treated on its own merit and circumstances, so there's not a one shoe fits all here. So long and the short of it, get the documentation and the proof into your insurer to pass it on to Sasria as soon as possible. Now, the follow-up was how long would it take and how long's a piece of string? I think what Sasria have now done, they've communicated such that they have centralized all of these claims under a catastrophe event based on the events of the past week. So it's all coordinated centrally. And as I said, certain insurers will fast track the smaller claims, but believe me, they're going to be inundated. So we'll have to wait and see in terms of how long claims will be settled.
Okay, the one thing that does give me a bit of a hope here is that Andrew's saying that you need to deal with your insurer and they will submit the claim on your behalf to Sasria. Because as soon as you said it's a state-owned enterprise, I suddenly thought, oh, okay, hang on. If you're going to have to submit claims individually outside your insurer to Sasria, I could just see chaos coming. Yeah. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for clarifying those issues for us here on Mansfield Today. And now to have everyone on the show, Andrew Penny, who's the CEO of SmartShore 2020. Would Sasria Lance, I take it they would cover the contents of your shop?
Well, yes. Okay, so it will if it is a result of the attack falling within the Sasria fold and scope, being political violence, riot, and that sort of thing. Then the contents in the shop would, but it has to be adjunct to the normal Sasria claim. In other words, if it's just basic theft and looting that is out of the blue and not relating to any of this violence or crime, then it would go under your theft policy. It'd be a very different policy.
So, okay, well, that raises another question then. I manufacture widgets, okay? And one of my trucks is looted on the way to deliver to one of my clients called Widgets Are Us.
Okay.
And on its way to Widgets Are Us, that vehicle gets stopped and everyone steals the widgets because people are stealing anything these days.
This is a little bit different to the contents in your store. And the best way of saying it is that, yep, even if there's riot and there's violence and the whole political unrest happens, what actually takes place, that's against your truck. The product inside your truck, your widgets, on the way to Widgets Are Us,
yes,
those products will fall under a theft claim. It's looting and theft. That won't fall under the Sasria claim. It's different to in-store. Just to keep in mind, they're not exactly the same.
Okay. Look, there are massive losses. Everyone is saying that the numbers that are coming out are way, way off the mark, and they are to the low end from a government point of view. So they're massive losses. Will Sasria be able to cover these losses?
Well, currently, Jim, the man who's running Sasria, Cedric Mosondo, has a big job in his hands. This is not silly bugger stuff. So it's a massive job. Initially, they thought the claims would be 3.5 billion, then went to 5, then 7. We don't know where it's going to end up. There is concern that although Sasria in its current format is properly capitalized to be able to pay out the claims, that the claims are going to run very rife, very far, and very high. So the one numbers thrown about it could be up to 30 billion rands worth of losses that Sasria approached on. Does Sasria have 30 billion? I don't think right now. We're hearing far lower numbers. So it's very concerning. But I'm confident that Sasria and the government are going out of their way to settle these claims. They want to do it. We have to get back in business. We have to get things running again. And also, sadly, so many shops are just not going to ever open again.
Yeah.
The time, and this is why I think we ask Andrew, how long does it take? I think he as an operator and as a broker and as an administrator has the same concerns as the quicker you get the stuff in, the quicker we get it out there. Let's try and get the money that you can start operating again. But my gut feeling is Sasria right now does not have enough money to pay it all out. That's a gut feeling. But I think as a government and as Sasria, they must make a plan to pay this out. If you have a Sasria cover, it's a valid cover, they better get the money and they must pay it out.
Has Sasria come out with an official position on this particular on these circumstances?
Yep, absolutely. Cedric came out. He's very clear and direct that they believe they will, and they are confident they will, and they will look after the claims. But what they've done, they've set up, as Andrew mentioned, a catastrophe centre. And everything goes to that one centre and it's managed from there, which is actually a very good idea. And I think we can compliment Sasria on that government department. And then from there, it goes through the process. But as Andrew also said, make sure you get all your paper right. They are saying if your claim is over $1 million, okay, make sure you have an assessor. Check it out. Get all that out of the way. Get a police number, a CAS number. Get all that in play, follow up, get the paperwork right, get the quantum of your loss, and be able to substantiate it. Do it all as quickly as possible. And Sasria has a protocol and a process inside which on paper looks efficient and effective. And we have to believe, as a country, that it will work and we'll get everything up and running again.
Okay, we need to wrap it up now. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think, Jim, it's a very disturbing time and a lesson to be learned. When you have your policies and going forward, and I pray this chaos comes in and doesn't happen again, but make sure you do have Sasria cover, because insurance companies in their own entity are not going to cover political violence, riot, and so on. I mean, I'm going to give you one very quick example. You take, for example, you own a car that's fully paid off. You want to get rid of the car. You often don't insure it anymore. You're not particularly worried about it. You put it on somebody's floor to sell, and that person, if sells the car, it's on consignment, that person sells the car, he'll take 10 or 15%, whatever your arrangement is. Think about this. And it's happened now. Some of them are coming across my desk. Burnt down, hasta la vista, nothing there, car's gone. Did you check that there is cover for that car while there? Did you check it has Sasria cover? Now, we wouldn't have thought of this in the past. We're far more confident. But the point I'm trying to make is make sure you have the cover. Valuable assets, and you're going to need them again. A lot of losses are going to happen without cover.
Edward Lance Brogden, thank you once again for your input and your expertise. And that wraps it up from the legal side on Mansfield Today. Tomorrow we'll be joined, as usual, on a Wednesday by Dr. Vicky Skitter. And we're going to be looking at, because we've had a fair amount of questions with people who have comorbidities of different sorts. So we're going to be having a look at comorbidities around the COVID-19 virus. It's one of the topics we're going to be looking at with Dr. Vicky Skitter on the medical section of Mansfield Today. Thank you for joining us. Until then, bye-bye.